AI has become a big part of our lives. From our phones to the way we work, it's difficult to live without AI these days. SUTD and the Business Times will soon be launching the Design AI and Tech Awards. And with me today is Professor Tai from SUTD. Why is SUTD launching the Design AI and Tech Awards with the Business Times now?
You know, Dylan, back to your opening remark, AI is present every day. I can't count a day without using the two-letter word.
Yeah.
It is actually so present, and it's not just in Singapore. I again travel a lot, China, US, and repeatedly this topic of AI came into the picture. I think people are talking about AI as in the use of AI in everyday lives. As you rightly say, my phone is invaded by AI, my computer is invaded by AI. Even my family members, not everyone is in the tech and design circle talking about AI. The folks in the market are talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it is the healthiest thing of all.
But we can't run away from it,
We
right?
can't run away from it.
Yeah.
So I think it, exactly. So how should we approach this topic on AI with a kind of right perspective? And particularly, we think about AI as possibly at this point in time a co-pilot, an aid, a tool. Why do we use AI to start with? If you ask about why is SUTD doing this with Business Time, I think coming back to the overarching objective is really to ask ourselves, what have we not done well in the last few decades that we want to now think of a new way to do this thing, to solve problems, for example. I will take the sustainability issue, for example. A lot of people think of it as something that is only happening in the last 30 years, that we want to tackle it because the inconvenient truth tells us so.
Yes.
The truth be told is that this is actually a 60, 70-year problem that started after Industrial Revolution. But we have no clue how to solve it. With the interesting problem of COVID pandemic, suddenly we see that the world's problem is no longer a national one, no longer a specific location, but it's actually a global one. We suddenly can identify with a problem described in Peru, in South Africa, in Croatia. We no longer feel like we are living in this our own country only. So with this kind of complex problem, in SUTD particularly, we see an opportunity to solve it. I've of the personal view that this is perhaps a rare window of opportunity. I have been practicing a lot in this field, and I could not find solution to think about lowering the global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. But the emergence of AI gave us this opportunity. Why? Because it is a very efficient tool. It is supercomputing. It's able to cut through the areas that human mind cannot comprehend or cannot compute fast enough and give us a solution in quick time. So I think with that sort of background, we feel that it is time there's some kind of award that recognizes, even though emergent effort in the use of AI for design and innovation. I think it's really the background why we're so happy to be able to partner Business Times to launch this first of its kind award.
So the time is really now to do something about this then?
It's not just now. In fact, I think if we miss it, we're just going to repeat the same problem that we created for a less sustainable world. By continuing to treat these two things as separate, divergent topics, and continue to struggle with sustainability, continue to push AI to the highest level without actually taking this opportunity to solve a very complex problem.
I want to find out from you as well, Prof. Tai, how does SUTD's strong foundation in design AI and technology uniquely position it to foster innovation and address the pressing challenges of today's changing landscape?
Some of you might know SUTD started 15 years ago, first with our partner MIT, to build this unusual university called Singapore University of Technology and Design. That was our foundation. At the end of the 7 years of partnership with MIT, when we start to chart our first plan for SUTD to take it forward in the next 7 years till today, we not only continue to build on the foundation of technology and design, we also take cognizance that there is a new tool called artificial intelligence that is emerging in a big way. Now, AI, as many experts will point out, that it is not new. It, in fact, was already a ideation put forward many decades ago, but it was just not mature.
Okay.
And there wasn't kind of suitable context for it to find application, and the technology was still young. But in about 2017-18, SUTD took a review of the available technology of AI. Then we realized that our design process and our technology formation could do with this booster called AI.
Okay.
But how do we know that it works? We started the first of its kind degree program called Design and Artificial Intelligence. There was no such degree program in the world. We are the first. And we're not exactly sure if a 17, 18-year-old will subscribe to this degree of learning, as well as a career path that's relatively unknown. We knew that it is a no regrets move, no U-turn, that AI will definitely take off, except we don't know how it will. So we launched it in 2018 with the first class, and lo and behold, 2019, end of 2019, the pandemic hit. We persevere with the first group of students. The foundation of this degree lies in teaching a student half of their time on design disciplines that covers product, system, spatial design, and half of their time on fundamentals of AI, coding, advanced technology, machine learning, etc. So you have this hybrid innovator that is familiar with what the world needs in terms of design, but yet very comfortable with advanced technology. There were critics that say, hey, they are half-made designer, or there are AI experts that say, no, they won't know enough about the fundamentals. But repeated tests proved that these students, despite without industry experience, could produce products and solutions almost as good as a seasoned designer. Of course, with some guidance, of course. Then we know 2019 and 2020, 21, 22, pandemic hit. And it is not surprising that the world grind to a halt. It couldn't solve all the problems that it faced just by human effort. Take contact tracing. You can no longer send people email, WhatsApp message, and hope to find out who is where. And it really needs advanced technology, such as contact tracing software, AI facial recognition. Many things start to converge. When this first batch of students finally graduated, it was very, very nice timing that AI was flourishing and people are starting to see its value. So we are convinced then that this is really the right foundation for SUTD. Our experiment can now scale beyond one degree to all the 5 majors. And we are proud to say that SUTD will be a first of its kind design and AI university from now on.
And with AI being so accessible nowadays, do you find people are more ready to embrace it? Do you find the young people are embracing it, even maybe perhaps more than anybody else?
I venture to think that other than critics who absolutely refuse AI, nobody is actually not using or attempt or be exposed to the use of AI. I don't think age is a problem. I'm not trained in the AI technology, but I can see the benefits. I encourage the use of it. So I think this is irresistible, and I think it's a no regret move.
I want to find from you, Prof. What are the primary criteria that we use to evaluate submissions across the different categories?
Together with Business Times, we developed something like 6 criteria. I think some of them are kind of industry norm, but I will just highlight maybe 3 of them. The first thing is what we call design thinking process. I think basically, back to my earlier point, that human has a role in this managing design process. And we shouldn't take the thinking out of the designer. There is a need for the designer to at least like set the framework for the AI to work, understanding the client's needs, and having AI produce those raw data. How does the designer process this data? And that, in a way, in a nutshell, is the design thinking process. Part of the design thinking process that's important is engaging the end user. So we don't expect the computer to talk to the end user without a human intervention. So I think that is key to demonstrate. I would say that's the first important criterion. The second one is a little bit controversial. I coined the word originality. This is something that is still being debated in the kind of design AI world. There are people who say that AI is so creative. But I think there's a difference between creativity and originality. So far, from all our experiment with our first batch of students in using AI for design, I haven't quite seen total originality coming from AI. Whereas I've seen originality coming from the students. Waiting to be proven wrong, whether AI can really be original.
Can you give us an example, maybe what sort of originality you're looking for?
I think originality is something that never quite seen before elsewhere. Take a coffee making machine. If you tell AI to design a coffee making machine, say based on your personal style, your preference, the AI will understand you as a person, what you like, you dislike, and produce a coffee machine shape in the form that you like. But the AI will not give you something that totally surprises you. So whereas a human being, having kind of interacted with you, understand your like and dislike, will also pick up the nuances in between, and also pick up things that you aspire that doesn't exist. So human has the ability to inject this original thinking, original thought into the creation of something. And it is this prompt that human add to the kind of AI working process that gives the kind of unique outcome. I think it's very difficult to just use one example to illustrate this, but I think as best as I could, this is how I would describe it.
Yeah, I think that kind of helps us understand it a little bit better. And
Yeah.
maybe you want to tell us what the third criteria is as well.
Well, this is back to the issue of ethics, and in particular related to sustainability. We all know that we have to face a warming world that's inching itself closer and closer to the 2-degree limit. We have yet to see practical solutions that help us lower the global warming. We're kind of lost now because the whole problem of developing something that's sustainable is actually quite complex. It involves understanding all the emissions, carbon emissions scope, the root causes that oftentimes has to do with third parties. And the other big problem with sustainability is cost. It is getting very expensive to create sustainable, especially highly sustainable product and solutions. And we don't seem to be able to solve this dead end with our human finite imagination. And some of these deal with real issues of system and logistics. So my personal take is that if we use the AI cleverly, it can speedily cut through some of these unknown to us, but actually they are known data out there. And that's where AI can help us create products and solutions that reduce carbon emissions, yet at the same time manage the cost of production, manage the uncertainties and risk of some of these new creations. Then I think we are probably get a better impact from these designs. So we hope to see such submissions. I'm not sure if people are using AI in that direction yet. A lot of them will use AI for the kind of, causing wow factor in terms of design outlook. But I think in a more practical sense, we hope that people also answer some of these real issues of environment and social aspect. We really hope to see that.
I think it's important we see these well-rounded entries, right? All aspects of AI are considered, not just one or the other. So I think that the next question I should ask you is, how would these criteria be weighted and balanced?
As a start, we are not giving extra weightage to about 5 or 6 of these criteria. We remain open, kind of keep them generally equal. I think we hope that people use this opportunity to address myriad or diverse factors rather than trying to score higher on one of them and not the others. But again, we are open to refinement in future iterations to look at whether we should weight them. But my hunch is that at the moment we're quite happy with a kind of equal weightage approach.
Are there any specific restrictions or guidelines regarding the type of technology or designs that can be submitted? For instance, are there any limitations on the scale or complexity of projects?
I think that's part of the uncertainty of dealing with a first launch of an award. I've done new awards before, but this by far is the most uncertain because we're dealing with contributors from a new technology called AI rather than just people. So I think we should remain open at this point in time. I would say generally if it does well and benefits society, we shouldn't stop them. The only thing I caution is the size of submission, meaning the size of the project or the product or solutions. Take shipping, for example. If someone uses AI for solving the shipping problem of transatlantic, transpacific fleet, I'm not sure that all the jury have the experience to deal with that sort of level of complexity of solutions. Number one. Number two is that I think it gets so complicated that we might not see the end of the day in judging. So I say as a start, look at something scalable. And also in terms of AI application, there's something that's more human scale allows us to appreciate its real benefits versus something that's so huge that we can only see it in astronomical figures, but we can't really feel its impact on society.
Sure.
Yeah.
So be realistic, start small, but let the dream be unlimited, right?
Yeah, grow the dream when this is not going to be the only year that we run this award. So I think allow time to develop some of these new ideas, and then I think that will be a more practical way of starting the award.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to potential participants to help them create a truly competitive submission?
I think all the conversation we have covered kind of like the content of the submissions. But one very key thing is that it's communication. Because a good design is only as good as how it's communicated to the judges in this case. And I would say if you are looking at winning the award, participants, please pay a lot of attention on how you package your submission. In terms of visual design of your information, in terms of write-up, and allow me to belabor this point a little bit. I think a lot of designers are very good at conceptualizing the image and the drawing, but not always strongest in writing about a design. Maybe this in part we have to blame design schools for not really emphasizing on that. And being a kind of STEM society, we are so big on technology and science, we don't emphasize on the learning of a language. I appreciate language, I love language, and I think language is part of design. And therefore, the write-up has got to be very succinct and very accurate to describe the strengths and the benefits of the submissions. Last but not least is actually verbal. We do expect presentations from submissions, especially at the final round. So do come with preparation in those areas that I mentioned, visual, writing, as well as even verbal presentation. It will give you that winning edge if you already have an excellent submissions.
Thank you so much, Prof. Tai, for sharing with us all this. I hope this will give all our participants a little bit of food for thought, and we definitely look forward to seeing the entries come in the coming months. I wish all of them the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.